So, as of August 19th, 2024, 2 days after my ninth year of working for AppleCare technical support, my boss decided that I would be a full-time content creator. And that decision has been solidified as of September 19th, when I finally got back the answer from a decision review. Took a month. Pretty rough. And though my own actions kind of brought us to the point of the decision itself, what ultimately pushed it forward was, by admission, a systems error, which I found to be pretty BS, to be perfectly honest. That was the story that I was holding back from you guys. If you guys have been following the channel, you'll know that, last month I mentioned that I would be pushing towards full-time content creating, at least for the short term. And I've been experimenting with a lot of different things, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't, seeing what I wanted to invest into, and seeing what I wanted to actually do. And while I was in this unsure spot, and now I'm kind of there. And I wanted to level with you guys. As you know, I like to be very open with my community, let you guys know exactly what I'll be doing. And that's kind of where we are at the moment. For the foreseeable future, we are a content creator full-time, which means some things are going to change on the channel, not really for the viewer experience in the negative, but mostly just in the background of how things are done. The first thing, and I want to be very clear about this from the very get-go, is in the past, I've always mentioned that anything that's put towards the channel, whether it be donations, whether it be subs, whether it be anything along those lines, all that money is held separately and pushed back into the channel. Whether it is, to fund the cost of a game we're playing on stream, to fund the cost of gacha or whatever it happens to be, to fund whatever it is always related to stream specifically, and that's how things go. I've always mentioned I have my 9 to 5 to cover my bills. I don't need you guys to do that for me. That is no longer the case. Anything that is made on the channel is going to go into our livelihood, and then is going to push into, of course, content afterwards. Now, I know some people are gonna be like, "Oh my God, oh no, what are you gonna do?" Like, I have things set aside. I will be okay for quite some time, actually. So that's nothing to be worried about. I wouldn't be looking at doing this if I didn't have somewhat of a plan, or I had some time I could put into this while also covering what I needed to cover, as far as our livelihood. As you guys know, Skulls and I live together. So if I couldn't afford to take care of us, this would not be something that I would be doing. This is just something that I have the green light to do now because I have the time, and because I basically put in the position whether or not I wanted to be there. So don't worry too much about that. What will be changing is just pushing towards this thing where in the past I've always been, we'll do this our way because we're having fun. And it's something that we'll focus on, specifically certain things because I just enjoy them the most, no matter what the situation is. We're going to need to diversify. We have to expand our horizons. Something I've wanted to do for a long time, but I've always been really kind of scared of doing it. It's very easy to be a big fish in a small pond. You'll find if you follow PSO2, there were a lot of creators that were like that. You were a big fish in a small pond, and then we move to a larger pond, it's easy to be forgotten. The reality is that if you never push yourself into those situations, you'll never know what you can actually accomplish. And it's something that I got to do, something that I've been doing slowly, experimenting with and seeing how it functions, to varying results, of course, but something that we have been working around with quite a bit. As you guys know, recently I've become a creator with Thrillness. I've also, looked into something like the SAO game and things like that. Not to say that we're not going to play PSO2. It's still one of our main games. It'll always be one of our main games. At the very least, we're always going to pop into our dailies and do anything when PS2 is popping off. Always. That will always be the case. But we are going to be looking at playing a lot of other things, a lot of BDO, a lot of the new SAO game that's coming out. Maybe we'll look into some of the new MMOs that are coming out, the new games that are coming out, some older stuff that we haven't touched in quite some time. Maybe we'll dive back into 14, so on and so forth. Like a lot of things that in the past I would have had time for, I have time for now. But with that is also going to come some other things that I have to get accomplished. For one, I've been mostly doing all of this by myself. Editing, uploading, monitoring my Discords, moderating my Twitch chats, my YouTube chat, all that stuff. I've basically been handling it solo. I'm going to need some help. So I'm going to have to look into proper mods. Though I have, some mods that are friends things like that. I have to look into mods that are really paying attention for it. The goal I've always said when it comes to content creation, when you feel like you've really made it, is when you've reached a point where you can literally afford to pay your mods and basically bring them on as employees. Um, One day I hope to reach that goal. Like that's kind of the sort of thing I want to do. I want, if you're taking the time out to help me out, I want to be able to compensate in that sort of way. I need to find, realistically, I got to find a partner when it comes to content creation on the YouTube side. Um, Most people would call it an editor. But realistically speaking, if you know anything about trying to find an editor, editors are extraordinarily expensive. And to be perfectly honest, and this isn't any knock against anyone who's trying to be an editor or anything along those lines, for them to kind of make their living off of being an editor, they're kind of scamming you in a sense. In most cases, you're taking a pretty big risk. And unless you're fairly established as it is already, either you have to handle it on your own or you're looking for someone who really is doing this on the side, is like, that they're putting too much effort into. You guys know my videos aren't super edited in the first place. They're not a ton of zooms. You're not looking at a ton of cuts or anything along those lines. And sometimes it does happen. Sometimes I happen to put more time and effort into those videos, but I edit in a way, or I record in a way that it's fairly easy to edit. We're looking at mostly just cuts and piecing some stuff together, something that can be done without my input. And I got to find someone that also kind of shares my vision, right? Like it's going to be something that I'm going to be looking for actively, and someone that I can trust with pushing that content out. Got to know that someone that's going to be able to upload a video. If I give them some information and footage, I can't be someone who's like walking behind them. Hey, look, put this way, put this as this, do this or this. It's got to be someone who's actually looking into that and all those sort of things. So this almost forms like a sort of advertisement for looking for someone like that in a sense. Because like if you feel like that's the type of person that you are, by all means, please get in contact with me. But it's something that I'm going to be actively looking for. Again, this is that level of transparency I want to show you guys. So basically, I can't do everything alone anymore. Another part of that is I actually want to do a marathon stream. I have never done one before, but I want to do one differently. I don't want to do a subathon because I don't like having people feel like they're pressured into having to give me money to stick around. So we're going to do things a bit differently. We're going to be doing a marathon stream in the sense of like pushing for individual goals. And those goals are going to pretty drastically increase our timer. And the cool thing about it is that that timer can go on for a long time. It can go on basically indefinitely if we wanted to, because we have the time to do so. It'll give us the time to experiment with different games, push into working on specific goals that might be very, very long and tedious, while also being able to put our all into it, being able to have something here all the time and really, really push into. It's something that I really want to do, something that I used to do a lot when I didn't stream or make content or whatever. Dude, farming, if I went to bed at a random time and woke up at like 3 o'clock in the morning, guess what? At 3 a.m., I'm popping on whatever game I'm playing and I'm just going to continue my farm at that point. And if I got to go to work at 8 o'clock in the morning and I fell asleep early that day and I'm just farming until I have to go take a shower and get ready for work, that's just what I did back then. That's not something I do anymore. That's something we did anymore, because if I was farming, dude, I would have lost that time streaming. It just seems silly, right? But with something like a marathon, that can theoretically happen again. That's something that I did a lot of, and I can do that again. So, but to do that, I can't do it alone. I need moderators. I need people I need someone that can work with me to upload to YouTube and things of that sort. Like it's something that we have to figure out, or I have to figure out. I can't even say I've got to figure it out. So it's something that I'm going to be working on moving forward. That's just going to be something that's going to be on the mind, paying attention to it, and so on and so forth. Also, you might see more sponsorship stuff on the channel itself. I'm going to always err on the side of caution, stuff that I personally would be comfortable with showing to you guys, or that I would like, or anything along those lines. I don't want to take, those advertisement deals of, hey, you got to say all nice things about my thing. If I'm just giving an ad read, it's an ad read. If we are, doing a proper review of something, it's going to be a proper review of something. If something is crap, I want the ability to say that it's crap. It's going to be difficult, don't get me wrong, but I do want to stick to those guns. So just know that that's going to be part of the situation itself. You guys start to see, those ad breaks in the mix a little bit more as far as like, an ad read or whatever happens to be. That is the reason why that's happening. Along with that, we're also, taking polls for what I want to do on the channel. You guys have been here for the longest time. You're here on the ground floor of us starting this process. Yes, I made content for a long time. However, I didn't really push it super, super seriously. Now's the time to do that. So I want your feedback on what we're doing. We recently did a poll for how we did streams over on YouTube. People are liking the streams, and I wanted to make sure that we are archiving them in a way that not only are people going to be able to find them, but if people want to get full versions of them, they can get them from other locations. So we took a poll, and you guys, voted on keeping the streams on YouTube, but just, keeping them listed, just not notifying about them. That's something that I want to hear from you guys about. We also took polls on Twitch ads. If you're not aware of how ads work over on Twitch, if you're not doing at least 3 minutes of ads an hour, you're taking a severe cut, and Twitch is still playing those ads in most situations, unless you quite literally remove all of them. So it's a situation where for the longest time, I ran an hour and a minute, or was it a minute and a half of ads every 30 minutes, as opposed to 3 minutes every hour. You guys voted against that. You guys voted for 3 minutes every hour. And while I thought, 3 minutes at every hour would be kind of annoying, I can kind of see why you guys preferred it to be that way. It's less often that it happens, right? It's just something that, we can pause. We do pause our streams, by the way, during the ads. I usually, if I'm talking about something or if we're watching something, we pause during the ads anyway, so you guys don't miss anything. But those pauses happen less frequent, though they're a little bit longer. It's effectively the same time frame. They happen less frequent. So it's something that I wanted to get your vote on, and you guys voted for, and that's something we've implemented, and I can see how it actually works. These are things I'm going to continue to do. If there's something I feel like we want to do on the channel, we're going to put it to a vote. We're going to talk about it. I want to hear from you guys. And if you didn't know that was a thing, jump over to YouTube, go into the community section, scroll down. The polls are still there. They're still open. The straw poll's still open. It's open to everyone. I tweeted about it. It's all there. If you want to still have your voice heard, absolutely go over to it. Absolutely go ahead and participate with it. And for those of you guys who already have, I very much appreciate you guys. Fantastic individuals, lovely, lovely people. We are also going to be looking at memberships over here on YouTube. One thing I don't ever want to do is I do not want to paywall my content. I don't want to. I want it always to be free no matter what the situation is. However, benefits, something I can go ahead and offer in those situations themselves. And while we have our base level with, of course, the tag and chat, as well as you have, emotes you can use, I also want to offer something extra. So we are going to probably be looking at adding another level to our membership tier. Thinking about doing something more like on one-on-ones with, gear conversations or progression, maybe assistance with augmenting, things of that sort. If people really are looking for something like that when it comes to PSO2 or maybe other games that we're playing. Basically more of a little one-on-one experience with me, if that's something you're looking for, something we can get a schedule, It's not for everyone. I mean, you guys can still ask your questions on stream. I'm not going to deny those under any way, shape, or form. But if you're looking for more of a one-on-one experience, that's something that you might be able to go ahead and go towards, something I want to go ahead and offer to you guys. Not to say that I think everyone's going to jump on board of doing that, but I feel like it's something extra that I can do and something that I'm pretty solid at doing. I've always had that sort of, friend over the shoulder, walking you through something vibe when it comes to my guide content anyway. Maybe we can offer that as something extra in a one-on-one scenario for you. I know some people are also getting embarrassed. They're like, hey, I don't know this stuff. And I feel like if I ask this in front of everyone, that people are going to make fun of me, which if people do in my chat would get absolutely blown up anyway. But because we don't ever do that to anyone. But I understand some people want to have more of a private interaction in that situation, and that's totally fine. So they want to go ahead and offer to you guys. But that's really about it. Honestly, I know this has a bit more of a somber feel to this video itself, but it's more about me trying to stay serious. To be honest, I'm pretty excited to do this. It's something I want to do for a very long time, and I've never really had the opportunity. I've always been the one that kind of shoulders the burden of taking care of everything in most situations, which I wouldn't even call that a burden, really. It's just I've had the means to, so I always have. Growing up, I always, dude, by the time I could have a job, I always had a job. That was just the norm for me. There was very few times I didn't have one. And those times, I wasn't the biggest fan of that time, and I wasn't always in the best place at those times, but I'm in a much better place now. I'm actually much more prepared for the process, and I really want to give it a shot. So that's all I've got for you guys today. I appreciate you guys take the time to watch this video. You guys are some of the real ones on the channel. We are still going to be doing our usual content. We have SAO, Fractured Daydream, Head Start coming up in a couple of days. We still have some stuff to work on in BDO. We've made some gains here and there, but we still are working our way through some stuff. We just recently mostly finished our gear BIS to PSO2, but we do have a headline on the horizon that's going to talk about how our gear is going to be changing pretty soon. So I'm excited to see that stuff we're going to be working on. And then there's, of course, there's tons of other games on the horizon as well. We've got things like Final Fantasy 14. We have other games as well in the mix, like Wuthering Waves and Genshin. We've got other MMOs, like, Throne and Liberty, and some other stuff in the mix there too, that we can really kind of dive into and experience and enjoy. So expect to see some different things on the channel. As far as the channels go in general, most everything will be here on the main channel. We'll try most anything here. Most long form stuffs, like let's say, for example, when the Sword Art Online Fractured Daydream story playthrough happens, it'll probably go up on the second channel. So my long form stuff usually probably go over there. Or things that just don't really fit on the main channel. Like let's say, for example, you guys aren't a big fan of like some game that we're doing, like some storyline or some playthrough, but I really want to finish it up and I finished up on Twitch. That might be something that lives on the second channel. And then we're also going to have just the VODs channel. That's going to be curated just VODs. If you want to be notified of every single VOD and you want to make sure you have access to watching all of the VODs, it'll be on the Chrono VOD channel. That will be separated from everything. There will still be lives here. There'll still be the live tab that has that, but not all of the things that I do end up streamed on YouTube just because they can't be. But I can put them on the VOD channel that is separate. So it'll be over there. I believe it's, I'm pretty sure I can leave that completely unmonetized or anything along those lines. So you'll be able to go through that. No ads and nothing along those lines. So you can just watch that and filter if you just want content to watch and you're not watching every single stream. So that'll be something that'll be curated specifically for those of you guys who enjoy that sort of content. And that's it. I want to do my usual outro because I'm so programmed to do it, to be perfectly honest. But I'll say thank you to the channel members that are here. Thank you to all of you guys who've subbed to the channel over on Twitch end. Thank to everyone who's ever supported the channel and stuff. We are still going to be making content. We're pushing for even more content now. So yeah, I look forward to the journey. Take care, my friends. Peace out.